Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm reporting from my daughter's house in North Dallas. It's storming up this way, so I didn't make it home today, and I'm very excited. We have just back from a Caribbean cruise author Allison Hong Merrill. She's got her book, 99 Fire Hoops, which is one of our book club selections for the month. And we're going to begin with letting her talk a little bit about herself and hear the story behind the story, because it's amazing, and all the awards she's won for her book. So welcome, Allison.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you for this great honor to be here with you tonight. So my name is Allison Hong Merrill. I'm an immigrant from Taiwan. 99 Fire Hoops was my debut memoir. It came out last year in September, and it's the story about, really it's about the power of choice. That is the theme of the story, is how we all have the power to choose for ourselves the kind of person we want to be and the kind of life we want to live. And I illustrate the theme of the power of choice with my personal experience as an immigrant, being disowned by my father and coming to America and marry an American husband and being abandoned in Texas. I love Texas though, even though I was abandoned there.
Oh, no.
And then I was in a very bad situation then because I did not speak English and I had no family in America. I had no friends because I did not speak English. And I had no money because when my ex-husband abandoned me, he took all the money with him. So, and then he canceled our apartment contract. So I was homeless, penniless, familyless, and voiceless, right? And that was a bad place to be. And I didn't want to be there. And I kept asking myself, so what should I do to get out of this place to a better place? And then I figured out it's easy. You just make choices, one right choice at a time, to take you, or to take me in that instance, out of that bad choice to a better place. And so all I had to do is make one right choice at a time. So the first right choice I made in that situation was to choose to be brave. I had to be brave. So I said, you know, it was easy for me to feel like I'm a victim, so I should cry. I should just cry, and wait for people to pity me and to come and help me. But that doesn't work. In the real world, sitting there waiting for help doesn't really work. And so I chose to be brave, even though I did not speak English. I chose to go to the apartment manager and ask her to help me. And that was the first choice I made. And that happened to be the right choice. And so from there, I knew, oh, my choices could help me get farther and farther away from this bad place. And so I used that experience to illustrate that we all have that power of choice. Wow. Doesn't matter how hard life gets, we can choose to get to the place we want to be by making one right choice at a time. So that's 99 Fire Hoops in a nutshell.
That's such a great testimony, because in this world today, especially during this time of COVID, it's woe is me, you know. And I'm kind of like you. I just put a mindset, and Mandy keeps reminding me, you know, wait, it'll come, better days will come. And in the meantime, be productive, you know. Yeah. Work on your writing, work on your art, work on your, you know, everything you can. And I've just thrown myself into my work, and we're almost through it, you know, at least the worst part of it. So good for you. And you. So how in the world did you start writing this story? I mean, where did it actually begin?
That's such a great question. Thank you so much for asking. So after leaving Texas, I moved to Utah and I went to BYU. And I met this young man and we fell in love and we got married. So my husband and I, my current husband, he is Caucasian and we have 3 boys together. Aww. Our 3 boys, when they were very, very young, I probably should explain this. My second husband and I, we've been married for 24 years. And during our marriage over 20 years, 24 years, right? We moved around quite a bit, but we always stay in Utah. And wherever we moved to, I had always been the only person of color in my neighborhood. And so with that background, our children are interracial children, right? So they don't look white, they don't look Asian, they just look like themselves, but they're beautiful kids. Right. So when they were little, they like to go to the neighbor's house to play with neighborhood kids. And one day they came home and they told me, Mom, you have to listen to this. And I was like, oh, what happened? And they told me, my friends' moms are so awesome. They're really cool. And I thought, oh, really? Why are they so cool? And they said, my friends' moms, they speak English, like really good English, not the kind of English you speak, you know, because I have an accent. And they noticed that. And then they also told me, my friends' moms, they all of them go to the gym together. They have like this fitness group that they will go to the gym and they would work out together. And then they would go shopping together. They, you know, get themselves pretty and they look fit and just beautiful, beautiful women. And so my kids noticed that. And they also told me that the neighborhood ladies, these housewives, they also all run marathons, all of them. They're all runners and they all scrapbook too. And so, what? They have so many talents and I have none of those. And I'm just not like any of them, right? So my kids was like, that's why they're so awesome. And also my friends' moms, they pack peanut butter jelly sandwiches for my friends, you know, like school lunch. And I pack my kids like chicken curry rice, right? And stinky tofu. That's like delicacy in Taiwan. And my kids were like, we're so embarrassed to open our lunchbox because we'll just stink up the whole room. Anyway, so that's why the neighbors' moms are really awesome. And so I thought, well, of course, these are kids, right? They were really young. And so whatever they said, they didn't say it to hurt me or hurt my feelings or anything. They were just being honest. And they told me their observations of what's surrounding them. And so I thought, if my kids were embarrassed by how different I am, then they need to learn about who I am and what made me who I am and what made me so different than all the other ladies around me. And so I decided, as a mother, I have the sacred responsibility. It's my duty to help my children learn about themselves because my children are an extension of me. So if they're embarrassed by how different I am, that means they are also embarrassed by that 50% of themselves, that they can never fully embrace and celebrate who they are if they're embarrassed to be half Chinese. So that is the primary motivation and inspiration for me to start writing about my experiences in hopes that it will help them learn about their Chinese roots. And then I share this. So I started in 2006 and I talked to one of my American friends and I told her, and she is a very established writer here in Utah. And she said, oh, you should go to this writers conference. There you will be able to learn the craft of writing and you can network with other writers and you might be able to pitch your book to an agent or, you know, just go and see what happens. So I went to the writers conference and from there, I started to take it seriously. And so that's how it started.
That's a great story. You know, everybody has a story and nobody can truly understand where you come from unless you share it. And that's what our book club is all about. We're sharing each other's lives and stories because when we do, we find out just, for me, just how privileged I am to know the language and all these things. We all think that we have so many things going against us, but to go to another country and I'm trying to learn Hindi. It is so hard. I can't find anybody who knows it, you know, and I've tried the online things. It's, unless you embrace yourself and in the world, it's hard. So the fact that you did this, and how old are your boys now?
So they're 22, 21, and 20.
Wow. And what are they doing now? Or are they around you? Are they home? Or
Yeah, they're home. They're going to college right now. But housing market in Utah right now is really, really bad in a way that is unaffordable. And so even for them to rent student housing, like student apartment, they can't afford it. So they all stay at home, like live with us and then go to school and then work. And I love that because my oldest son, he's married, he has a baby, and that means my grandbaby lives with us.
oh, wow, that's great. Yeah. Wow, that's great. So what's their attitude now of their mother and her heritage?
You know what? So I feel, of course, they don't really tell me. They're very private people. And that's why on social media, I don't really post a lot about them because I respect their privacy. And they're also shy in a way that they don't freely express their inner feelings with me very often. But I feel that when they were in high school, so my 3 boys, they're all 1 year apart.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I know. So when they were in high school together, right? And so they went through that high school rebellion phrase together. And it was very difficult at the time when they were in high school, when they were teenagers, because I feel like in a way, they blame me for some of their teenage problems because I embarrassed them, like I'm not like, still, I will never be like their friends' moms.
Now listen, my kids still remind me of all the times I've embarrassed them. I actually went to an academic pep rally dressed as a leopard once. So they said, Mom, what in the world? Well, I had been doing a story hour at the grade school, and our signature look is leopard print. So I went as a leopard, and I didn't have time to change. And they're just going, I would do things like that all the time. And I go, well, this is who I am. And I don't dress normal for a Kansas girl, but I embrace it in my children now. They're 28 and 32. And they love, we love, once they get into that age, everything starts getting a little easier. And I have a grandson who's in the next room I've been spending the last 3 days with. That is so funny to me. His verbiage is, and how old's your grandchild? Is it a boy or girl?
It's a boy, and he will be 1 year old in 2 weeks.
How wonderful for you, because there's nothing like a grandchild. I mean, it's just really, I hate to go home, but he's coming to stay with me this summer. So back to your book. So you started this in 2006. And when did it actually get published?
So it got published last year in September. So it took 15 years.
You know what? I hear this all the time from authors, because the first book, you're learning. And
right.
You have to figure, and we want that first book to come out so perfect. But look at you, 12 awards. So congratulations. We're thrilled about your book. We're looking forward to your next ones. We're having our Girlfriend Weekend live, and your book will be up for bonus book of the year. So we're having awards ceremony, and you can network with everybody, and Mandy can talk more about that later, because we just announced that we're having an Amelia Island, Florida, which is off the coast of Florida, just below Jacksonville, which is where Mandy lives. So we're pretty excited about it, because it's a beautiful, lots of famous authors and celebrities live there. It's gorgeous, and we're pretty pumped. But your book is an amazing story. So when you went to this writers conference, did you continue to do so? What was your major in college?
My major so I went to 3 different colleges. So I went to this Catholic university in Taiwan. I tested into it, and I major in German. I'm so embarrassed to say that now. I remember nothing in German now. So I major in German, and then when I came to Texas, I majored in Chinese teach. No, that's BYU. I majored in TESOL. So it's like teaching English
As a second
as a
language.
foreign language. And that's funny. That's really ironic because I did not speak English, remember? So
Now,
I thought,
where did you live in Texas?
huh?
Where did you live in Texas?
So I had to change the location of that university and the town in my book to protect my ex-husband's privacy. So
Yeah.
in the book, it's Edinburgh, Texas. Do you want me to tell you the real location?
I just wanted to know if you lived near me. That would have been so cool.
It's Beaumont, Texas.
Okay, but okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you live down in they consider that East Texas, but it's clear down south. So Texas is a big state, and I love it too. But and we're thrilled that I didn't mean to make you say that if you didn't want to.
Oh no, it's okay.
But so and then your last major was what?
So then I transferred to BYU and I majored in Chinese teaching because at the time I thought, hey, I can be a Chinese professor.
And
because Chinese is a lot easier than English for me.
And everybody's wanting to learn it because it's such a populated country. It's spreading around the world. And you know, I wish as a people of the world that we would learn more languages in our formative years growing up, because you know, America is everywhere else you learn English. You know, almost everybody. I've had 3 exchange students live with me for periods of time, and they all had English in school. And you know, I had a German student, a Japanese student, and one from the Czech Republic. And you know, they all spoke well. David, he was German. He didn't speak English very well, but by the time he left, he was very fluent. But he went back home and his parents told me that he couldn't remember how to talk in German.
Wow. That's a great.
He spent a year and a half in the United States. He didn't want to go home. He spent his senior year and then he spent the summer and then he went back, and he's now back there and he's in his 30s now, but he loved living in the United States. And
it must be because of your influence when he was staying with you.
He stayed with a lot. He stayed with an African American family, my family, and then an older couple. And when he came back, he came and saw me. It was really cool. And it was really exciting. But he's a welder now. And he said, you know, my ex-husband worked for US Steel. He was really hoping that he could get on work with US Steel because he really loved the United States. But
so awesome.
But you know, I think it's fascinating that we're learning so much about each other from your blogging this week and from reading your book. And I really encourage everybody to read 99 Fire Hoops, because so many people in my book club are from small places and they never really get outside their own little town or county. Now we have a lot of members that are world travelers, but a good majority of people that live rurally always live rurally. So having this book club opens up our worlds. In fact, Mandy, somebody posted this week, what was the first thing they asked? They said, are all your authors Southerners? I go, oh my God.
Well, it's so sweet. So it's a new Pulpwood queen. She just joined. She's from Montana.
Yes.
She asked me, she said, you know, because I guess I'm a Southern author. And I said, I think we're like outnumbered, really. So it was fun. I put up and people are starting to answer, you know, where they're from. And it is, yeah, I think Southern authors, I think the Pulpwood queens really Southern authors are outnumbered.
Well, we started it here in East Texas, and actually the Southern Independent Booksellers Association doesn't even consider Texas Southern. They consider us Midwestern. And so we're kind of in that weird place. So because I started it in East Texas, everybody thinks, oh, we read as Southern books. And I go, no, we read from books and we always have. for 22 years, we've been reading books but when I put the international in the name, that's when people said, oh, you've gone international. I go, no, we've always been international, but we feel like now's the time to let the world know that we need to be more diverse and read more books like yours, 99 Fire Hoops. And so now I'm very interested on how in the world did you write this book with 3 boys?
Oh, Kathy, there were a lot of crying and wanting to give up.
And where do you think that inner, I've got to keep going, keep going comes from?
Okay, it's from this. My husband's grandmother passed away, and so that's his grandmother. So my husband's mother decided to not give her a funeral, but instead to have a family gathering at her house. Okay. And so we never had viewing, so we never said goodbye to her. We never had a chance to, to have a traditional funeral, that event to celebrate her life. So we went to my mother-in-law's house, and she had prepared this slideshow, and we thought, oh, it's gonna be like the virtual funeral, like you just look at the slideshow of her life to remember her. But instead, the slideshow, it was about 3 hours long. Like she went through hundreds of pictures of herself. Instead of the grandmother, it was my mother-in-law, and she was talking about her childhood, and she was talking about, just everything about her, not her mother. And so I thought, this is very interesting. Why? And then, for 3 hours, she talked about herself, but then the only thing she said about her mother, the grandmother who passed away, was that grandma was very short. She was 5 foot, she was 4'10". So she always had to go to the children's department to buy clothes. And that was the only thing she said about grandma. And then, there's nothing wrong about saying that. But then I came home, I kept thinking, is that what grandma will want everyone to remember her? Right? And then I asked myself, what would people remember me by when I die? What would people say at my funeral? And if I had the ability to give a speech at my own funeral, if I could tell the funeral guest one thing about myself, what would that be? And then I thought, I don't want people to tell my story. I want to tell my own story, because people might get it wrong, right? I don't want people to remember me being short, or I don't want people to remember me as, Allison has that horrible accent and we never understood what she was saying. Well, which was okay if that's what people want to remember me by. But if I had a choice, if I had the ability to tell people one thing about myself, I want people to know I love God. I love my family. And I want people to know that. And if I don't tell that story myself, somebody else is going to tell my story for me, and they might be wrong. And so that's what kept me going. I had to finish writing this book. It's very hard. Writing is very hard. Writing in a foreign language is harder. And then trying to get it published in this competitive American publishing industry is almost impossible. And then I kept getting rejections and rejections and rejections, for years. All I got was rejections. And then I thought I had to find a way to get this published, because for my children, for myself. And I spent 15 years from 2006 to 2021, 15 years of getting this book out. I can never get those 15 years back. It's gone, 15 years of my life gone. But I have eternity. I have eternity, because written words are immortal. What you wrote down will stay forever. My book will outlive me. And that's my story. That's what I want to leave behind. It's a legacy project. It's also a passion project. But ultimately, I got to tell my own story, not from somebody else's words, but my own words. Might not be perfect. I might still be, people read my book and they'll be like, I can hear her accent by reading.
There's nothing wrong with your accent. You have a beautiful voice, and you really just there's nothing wrong with it. It's no different than my Kansas California, Texas accent and Mandy's Nashville, Florida. I mean, we all pick up a little bit of everything where we're at. If we all spoke exactly the same, how boring life would be. Your voice is beautiful and your book is beautiful.
Thank
So,
you.
you know, you need to own that and not apologize for it after this night ever again.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
Speaking of slides.
Oh, yeah. Are we ready?
Yes, we're ready.
To go into your slides because I can't wait. Okay.
Okay, awesome. So I prepared this slide and I told Kathy I'll only take 10 minutes, so I'll keep my promise. Let's go. So most people don't know where Taiwan is. So if you look at this map, Taiwan is on the east side of the map right there. It's southeast of China. And did you know that Taiwan is roughly the size of Maryland? The neighboring countries are China, Japan, and Korea. Now, Taiwan was colonized by foreign countries, by Holland, Spain, and Japan. And there are also a vast diversity of population in Taiwan. There are the Han Chinese, they're the majority of the people, and there's 16 different Aboriginal tribes in Taiwan. And right now, there are the new immigrants from Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Thailand who moved to Taiwan for work.
Wow.
And stay. Okay, so we talked about Chinese food. It is said that Chinese people eat everything that flies except an airplane. And they eat everything that has 4 legs except a table. This has some truth in it. Chinese people eat a lot of unusual things. And breakfast shops. Let's see. In Taiwan, there's a breakfast shop on almost every street corner. They take breakfast seriously. And also in Taiwan, when someone asks you, what's for dinner? A popular answer is whatever is in the night market.
Wow.
Oh, wait, I went backwards. So let's see. A meal from a Taiwanese night market costs about $4 US. Ingredients for a homemade meal cost about $10 US. That's why most people eat out in the night market. Also in Taiwan, there's a famous restaurant chain called Modern Toilet Restaurant. I did not make it up, it's true. Of course, if you go to a modern toilet restaurant, you shouldn't be surprised to sit on the toilet to enjoy a meal.
Oh my gosh.
And definitely, you should not be surprised that your meal is served over a bathtub. Of course, the throw pillows on a bench are shaped like poop. Can I say that word? Yeah.
Yes, you can. Oh my gosh.
All the food is served in a mini toilet bowl. I dare say they're clean.
Oh my gosh.
So by now, you shouldn't freak out when they serve your drinks in a urinal. But since we're talking about toilets, please allow me to introduce the squat toilet. Okay, my husband cannot do the Asian squat to the right. So when we were in Taiwan and he saw a squat toilet in the public bathroom, it made him groan. He could not do it. He will fall in it. So in the modern toilet restaurant, they serve ice cream that's shaped like poop in a squat toilet. It's actually very delicious.
Oh my God. I had no idea.
Yeah, right? So Taiwan has the world's second highest convenience store density. You can pick up your Amazon orders at 7-Eleven. Traditionally, when a couple gets married, they live with the husband's parents. If they live in the countryside, they might live in a compound that's shaped like a horseshoe. It's common to see red couplets around the door frames in a Taiwanese house. This practice has reference to Moses' time when the Lord instructed the Israelites to brush the blood of a lamb around their door frames so the destroying angel would pass them over.
Wow.
Nowadays, Taiwanese people write phrases of blessings on red papers and paste them around their door frames for good luck. Red couplets around the door frames. even if the door is round.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, Taiwanese people also believe dragons bring protection and good fortune. So it's common to see dragons as part of architectural designs. Here are some row houses. And here are some multi-level, multi-story row houses. And here are some homes in an Aboriginal village. Some seaside homes are underground so they don't get blown away in the typhoon season. Some multi-story buildings are also multi-purpose. In a true work from home fashion, the first floor of these buildings is used as a shop while the family lives upstairs. These are condos, and these are single family homes. And these are more single family homes. Notice that most architecture in Taiwan is built with concrete. That's because late summer is the typhoon season. Concrete homes are the top choice when it comes to typhoon-proof buildings. In fact, back in the 1970s and 1980s, before common picture hanging strips were commonly used, it was rare, very, very rare to see that in a family home, there was an entire wall dedicated to family portraits. It was too hard to hammer nails into a concrete wall. So Taiwanese people did not have the habit or the common practice of hanging family portraits on the wall. Okay, so in my book, I described the Taiwanese funeral. I did not make it up. This is a Taiwanese funeral. A traditional Taiwanese funeral is to set up a tent in front of the house of the deceased. Sometimes it takes up the entire alleyway. The family of the deceased kowtows to the funeral guests, thanking them for paying respect to the dead. Oh, okay, let's see what happened. That picture vanished, but that was a picture of the family of the dead walk to the cemetery. Okay. Buddhist temples are a common sight in the streets of Taiwan. In a city in southern Taiwan, Transformers, Iron Man, Hulks, and other superheroes stand tall as the door gods. I apologize for not being able to tell you the rationale behind it. I don't know why, but these superheroes were the door gods in those Buddhist temples. But this is a traditional Buddhist temple without the dramatic element. This is a Confucius shrine, and this is a red hair fort built by the Dutch people back in the 1600s when they colonized Taiwan. In Taiwan, there's the bullet train that goes about 190 miles an hour. So if you are driving to a place 4 hours away from your house, get on the bullet train, it will take you less than an hour.
Wow.
And in Taiwan, mopeds are convenient transportation that takes you from point A to point B. And during rush hour, it's common to see a waterfall of mopeds like this.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Taipei is in the northern part of Taiwan, and my hometown, Hualien, is on the east coast, and it takes about 3 hours if you drive to travel from Taipei to Hualien. And Taipei 101, that's the tallest building in the world from 2004 to 2009 until that building in Dubai was built.
Yeah.
This one of the landmarks in Taipei is Chiang Kai-shek's Memorial Hall. Chiang Kai-shek was our president. Okay, so another landmark in Taipei is the Grand Hotel. Chiang Kai-shek's wife built it to entertain foreign dignitaries, politicians, and socialites. There are 2 secret underground tunnels beneath the Grand Hotel. Since their construction in the 1950s, the tunnels have never been used for emergency evacuation. So now they are open for public tours.
Oh.
In 1949, when Chiang Kai-shek's army retreated to Taiwan, and I don't know if you know the background story, Chiang Kai-shek's army fought Mao Zedong. It was the Chinese Civil War, and Chiang Kai-shek's army was defeated, so they retreated to Taiwan, thinking they will regroup, and then someday when they were ready, they will go back and reclaim their lost homeland, and it hasn't happened. But when Chiang Kai-shek's army retreated to Taiwan, they took 1,000-year-old national treasures with them, and they have been housed in the National Palace Museum in Taipei ever since. Now let's look at my hometown, Hualien.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in my memoir, 99 Fire Hoops, I write about being homesick when I first came to the US. I was homesick for this place, and this place, and this place, and this. And this place, Hualien, is really beautiful. And this is the national, yeah, it's the national park in Hualien, and it has a nickname. It's called the Mini Grand Canyon because it was a canyon and it wasn't as grand as the Grand Canyon, but it is beautiful. This is inside the national park. And Chinese New Year celebration lasts for 15 days. So you know, that's when the whole nation, they have 2 weeks off to celebrate Chinese New Year. When Chinese people celebrate a holiday, the entire town got involved. It was always a grand event. So in my memoir, I also write about midday nap, right? This is a very unique part of Taiwanese culture. Some companies create space for employees to rest during lunch break. Students are required to nap after lunch. There's no exception. Everybody had to take a nap. Another part of Taiwanese culture is the daily school-wide cleaning that students are required to do. They clean outside of the school gate, and then scrub the toilets. The routine of daily school-wide cleaning is to help children learn a sense of responsibility. It's not a punishment. So cram schools are another unique part of Taiwanese culture. Students go to regular school during the day, and after that, they go to cram schools for another 2 to 3 hours of supplemental education. This is what a Taiwanese cram school looks like. Kids are drilled to pass the annual National University Entrance Exam. In the 1990s, only about 20% of the students nationwide were admitted into universities. So if you want to go to college, you have to be able to be the top 20% of the entire nation to get into school. It's very competitive. Now, karaoke is very popular in Taiwan, and there's a place called KTV. It's a very popular place where people can rent a large room for $3 an hour. And a lot of the big companies, like corporate companies, they will rent a room like this at a KTV, and like after work hours, they will go there for conferences. Yeah, they keep working. They work after work, right? And then they will have team meetings, and they'll have company dinners, etc. And you can also watch a movie or sing karaoke with your coworkers while making important business decisions.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Okay, I get, oh, here. Okay, so in 1996, the Summer Olympics was in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if you remember this, but the 1996 Summer Olympics in Georgia marked the centennial of the first modern Olympic Games. So there was a promotional video that was created to commemorate this historical event. And this is, so I share this with you, even though it has nothing to do with Taiwan, but I would like you to listen to the music, the background music, and then I will tell you why I share this with you.
Okay. Excuse me.
Bless you. So did the audio play for you?
It was very faint.
Oh, so I am sorry. I don't know. So if you couldn't hear the background music, then probably we should skip this because
We can go to YouTube if you'll send us where it is. We'll watch them later. Okay.
yeah, okay. I will send you the link to that video, and then this next video. This is my last slide, and then I'll tell you the story why this has to do with Taiwan. But that is the last slide. So thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Man, that was so entertaining.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back.
Oh my gosh. Well, can you at least tell us why, even though we weren't able to hear it, why this ties back to your story or Taiwan?
Okay, yeah. So the promotional video that the Summer Olympics of 1996 they created to commemorate the 100-year of modern Olympic Games is the background music was actually a stolen intellectual property. They did not ask permission to use that music, and the original singer of that song were this Taiwanese couple, the Aboriginal couple, and they were farmers. They were a poor couple, but they were gifted singers. They were musicians and they loved to sing. And they created this amazing song. It's called, I wrote it down, Jubilant Drinking Song, because they like to drink, right? And so they created the song to celebrate drinking because they work very hard during the day. And when the sun sets, they go home and they drink and they relax and they celebrate their hard work. And so this song is just beautiful. And they were invited to go on a world tour to perform, and they went to France to sing. And these were country folks, right? They had no education. They couldn't speak any foreign language. They went on this tour and they were on the stage performing the beautiful music, and somebody recorded it, right? Recorded it and then sold the music to an American company. And then this company allowed this band back in the 90s called Enigma. They used that music to make this promotional video for the Olympics. And nobody knew this happened. This couple, this Taiwanese Aboriginal couple, they went back to Taiwan. They knew nothing about their intellectual property being stolen until the Olympics happened. And everybody listened to it. And some people recognized the voice and the music, the melody, and people knew it belonged to this old couple. So they went and told this couple, you can sue them. You will get so much money, sue the Olympics. Oh, that's a lot of money, Olympics, right? And the old couple said, oh, it's okay. It's okay. They love our music. That makes us happy. Let's just celebrate art together.
That makes me cry.
Aww.
These are farmers.
Amazing story. There should be a documentary about that. I mean, that would be great.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What a story. Well, goodness gracious. I'm kind of blown away because I had no idea. Anybody else have any idea about any of the things that she was showing today? I can't. Are these toilet places they eat popular?
Yes. Kathy, you should try it.
The ice cream alone just kind of blew me away, but Anyway, and the pillows in the that's just amazing. I do want to go there now. I want to see those temples are beautiful.
They're
And the
very beautiful.
homes are beautiful. And I
Yeah.
had no idea about the Dutch influence in the Spain. There's so much that we don't know in this world. And that's why I think the importance of our book club is getting even more important to me, because I'm learning of the world. And I think if everybody just reads these books, they're going to learn and become more kind and empathetic and just have better understanding of we're not alone in this world. We're in this world relationship. We need to, and especially now with everything that's been happening in the Ukraine, it's just absolutely.
Well, and the school shootings, there was another one today, but
I heard, I don't know what.
Sarah has a question before we
Yes,
start
Sarah.
talking about, yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just want to thank you for your book. Your voice is so frank and powerful, so never apologize.
Never.
It's so honest and just exposing the inequalities of power. I mean, that was great, but my favorite part was the funeral.
Yes.
And it was just, it blew my mind. It really did. And then afterwards going to the crematorium and
Yes.
everything they did there. And I just learned so much. So thank you for taking me on the world tour that way. It was great.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, thank you so much for your feedback. And it makes me so happy to hear that, like I said earlier, I spent a lot of lonely, dark hours working on this book, and I never knew the outcome. And, I wanted the book to be out to reach a lot of readers, but I didn't know it would actually happen when I was working on it, because it looked very hopeless. But now knowing that you have read it and that you have a favorite part of the story, it makes me very, very, very grateful. And I want to thank you for investing your time with my story and giving me your feedback. It's a beautiful gift. I really treasure it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we treasure you. And this is another thing, by bringing the author into the conversation, even though you read a book and it's wonderful, but when you hear you explain things and where this story, why it was so important for you to write it, to me, if everybody would write that way, and if those books would get published instead of all this stuff about celebrities and who is going to sell the most books, it's time for change. And I think the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation is starting that. We're really, the more we join together, the more powerful we can get, and the more we can help writers like you. That is an incredible story. And please tell us what you're working on now.
Rebecca has a question.
Oh yeah, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you so much. The way you have articulated your ability to choose not to be a victim, right? And to choose to be brave. And I think that in your pursuit of publishing, you also follow that same dictum of you're not going to give up. You're just going to, you make a choice and you pursue it. And I think that right there is a very powerful message for a lot of people, but particularly a lot of women are too easy to give into victimhood and just hope somebody will rescue them, right? But you didn't do that. And so I just wanted to say, I teach Japanese literature at a university. And so we get a lot of students from BYU who come to our graduate program. BYU is just really well known for excellence in language training. So I know that your students that you teach Chinese must be very just excellent students. But I'm wondering about your sons. Did they allow you to teach them? Have they studied Chinese? Are they interested in China? I know sometimes children don't want anything to do with their parents, and so maybe they have not developed that yet. So I was curious about that. And then I was hoping you would define what 99 fire hoops are.
Okay, thank you so much for all these wonderful and meaningful questions, Rebecca. And also thank you so much for what you said about BYU students. And that makes me so happy to hear that BYU has a good reputation out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. And to answer your questions, the first one is about my sons. They do speak Chinese. So 3 of them, the second son speaks the best because, but he's also the one who really struggles in school. And it's not because intellectually he's incapable, it's not, it's because he struggles with depression and anxiety, and so the social life, the social aspect of school life is too overwhelming for him. And so he struggled badly in high school. And so he eventually dropped out. He did not graduate. But then he got his GED and he was able to continue to move on to college. That is what would never happen in Taiwan. So I am very grateful that here in America, it's the land of opportunities. That if you are willing to work hard, you will have a chance to be successful. Just work hard, right? And so he's the one who speaks speaks Chinese the most fluently out of the 3 kids. And the other 2, they don't speak Chinese very often with me, but when I speak Chinese with them, they answer in English and their answers are always correct. So that means they understand what I say to them. Your second question is about 99 fire hoops. And so 99 is a number, and the number 99 in Chinese language is a metaphor for eternity. Because the number 9 sounds like this, 9. That's the number 9. And 99 is 99, 99. Okay. And the word for a long time in Chinese is 久. So it's the same. It's homophone. And so when you put a homophone of a long time and then you double it, 99, that means forever. And so the number 99 means eternity, or is a metaphor for eternity. And so I use that as to sort of represent how I felt when I was going through trial after trial. And you know, even though I told myself I'm going to be that person who knows how to get myself out of problems, I know how to get myself out of a bad place, I would just make one right choice at a time. I had that understanding. But with that understanding, it's still hard because your challenges don't go away just because you realize how to handle them. They're still hard, right? It just makes it easier that you know, well, I can choose to be happy even though life is hard, right? The heart is still hard. So I use 99 as a metaphor to describe the despair and the hopelessness I felt when I was still going through all these trials one after another, and it just felt like it never ends, right? And so fire hoops, to me, when I think of fire hoops, I think of a lion in the circus jumping through a fire hoop. And then if you make this lion jump over 99 fire hoops, and remember 99 means forever. That means he has to jump forever and there's no end of challenge. You just have to keep jumping. And so that's how I felt at the moment when I was at BYU, when I made mistakes and I was trapped in a bad marriage and all that. And I feel like there was no end, even though I knew there would be end, you know, but at that time, that's how I feel. And so I thought, oh, just use that as the title, because I mean, I can have that mental image of 99 fire hoops. That's like a lot of fire hoops you have to jump over, jump through, right? And so I was hoping that readers will also get that mental image of, oh yeah, that looks hard.
It's so vibrant. What a beautiful image, though, to conjure up. Thank you.
It really is. It really is. Wasn't there a third part? What was the third?
No, those were my, well, I guess my third part is, could you reconcile with your family back in Taiwan?
Yes. Okay. So my father, who disowned me,
Mhm.
he stopped talking to me for decades. But then this year, this past January, he had a stroke. And but I should probably say I helped my father to immigrate to America because he got in trouble in Taiwan. And that, anyway, so long story short, I helped him come to America, and he lived with my sister. I also brought my sisters, my two sisters, Dee and May. They're also here in Utah, and my father came here, and the three of them lived together with Dee's family. So they all live together. And my father had a stroke back in January, and he doesn't speak English. So he was rushed to the emergency room, and their neighbors called me and said, Allison, your dad's in the hospital. He had a stroke. You should go. So I went, even though he didn't ask me to go. I went, and this, last January, COVID is still happening. COVID was still going on. And so I was wearing a mask. I went in, and he could see me, even though, I was like, half of my face was covered, and he could not talk. He was in the bed, and his right side of his body, he couldn't move, and he couldn't talk, but he saw me, and his left eye got like there was a string of tears that came down. And even though he didn't say anything, but the way he looked at me and the tears told me that he wanted me there. I was at the right place at the right time, and he needed me there. And so from that day on, we have, in a way, and this is another thing about Chinese people. Did you know Chinese people typically or traditionally don't say I love you to their own parents, to their own children? It's just so awkward. Just nobody says it. Nobody says I love you, And so my dad, of course, my parents, they never told me they loved me. And I never told them I love them either. It's in my writing. I would write down my feelings. And I think that's the beauty about writing. You can write about your feelings that you're too embarrassed to verbally express. And so my dad did not tell me thank you. He did not tell me he loved me and that he was grateful that I was there to help him communicate with the doctors, but how you can feel, sometimes you can just feel it, that he wanted to say those words that that just will not come out of his mouth. And so now we are talking, and we are slowly building up that lost relationship. And I'm very grateful. I think things are getting really, really good now in my family.
Beautiful. That sounds like maybe book number 2.
Yes.
I'm dying to know, are you started on another project?
Yes. So I'm actually working on 2. So I'm working on the prequel of 99 Fire Hoops, and it's focused on my childhood in Taiwan. There's a family secret that the central Taiwanese government is keeping from us, so that we don't know, we have no way of knowing who our ancestors are. Or, guys, did I tell you in Chinese there's no verb tenses?
Yes.
And so I would mess it up all the time. Like, okay, my ancestors we had no way of finding out who they were because the government would not release their information to us. So that's my next project, is to focus on that. If you don't know your family secret, if you don't know your ancestors, there was no way of you finding out. How do you define your identity? And my understanding is you can still create your own identity. I feel we have the power to create our own identity, even though there's no written records saying you are the son of so-and-so, you're the grandson of so-and-so. Even though that kind of record doesn't exist or is not available to you, you can still create your own destiny. You can be the first generation, and then from you and going down, you can create your own dynasty.
Yeah, I love it. I love this.
Yeah.
So empowering. Go ahead, Mandy.
Well, Allison, I just have to say, I just loved you before, but I just love you so much now. I can't stand
You're
it.
so amazing. Thank you.
Just, listening to your story, it's, I feel like we're related,
Of course we are. We're sisters.
Yeah.
All of us.
I just want to, of course, your writing is fantastic.
Thank you.
And what Rebecca said about how, you're just so strong, but what's so amazing is how you are still so happy, and upbeat, and positive. Like, that's just a great thing to say. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that so much, Mandy. You are a role model for me. You're always so kind and supportive. And I feel like this entire Pulpwood Queen community is just amazing. I seriously have never met any group of people who are so genuinely kind and loving and supportive.
Gosh, where's my Kleenex? I got, we try so hard. We try so hard. And so, but when I hear people like you speak, I'm going to be 66 this summer. I've been doing this for a long time. And, I always think, when am I going to stop? And I hear people like you and I go, I can't. I just,
No.
I can never, I'll go until I drop, because to hear your story, it's just the most inspiring thing I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you.
And if everybody who watches this doesn't run out and get this book for themselves and everybody they know, I think they're absolutely crazy. But, America, the world, whoever's listening to this is such a powerful book club meeting. I feel like I have chills up and down my arms I'm so moved by all of this. So, and did your family have a nice cruise?
Yeah.
They just got back from a Caribbean cruise. I was trying to figure out how she was going to be doing this from a cruise ship, because I took the Pulpwood Queens and my authors on a cruise through out off of Miami, throughout the, that whole area. And we had a wonderful time, but I couldn't do email hardly at all. So I was thinking, how is she doing these blogs? I'm kind of amazed. So I really enjoyed everything that you've been writing, and I can't wait to see what you've got for tomorrow and the rest of the time. Do you ever sleep?
Of course, I sleep. Oh, I probably sleep too much.
Really?
Yes,
It's
I sleep.
very organized then, because it's all, I didn't even have to, I sent out a reminder, but she already had it done. I'm very impressed with your
Thank you.
professionalism, and also, more importantly, your story. Your story is amazing. I hope everybody reads it. And anybody have any more comments they want to share? Well, I hope everybody who watches this out in Kathy L. Murphy channel YouTube world really stops and watches this with their book club. I'm going to be really tooting your horn this week, and then I really look forward to our annual Girlfriend Weekend when we go live, because I definitely want to meet all of you in person, because this is going to be, Mandy and I are so excited about it. We want to make this probably the biggest life-changing experience of an author or a reader's life, because it's this connecting that brings us together, that shows the world just how great it can be. So thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
And you're always so sweet. I share a post and she sends me these paragraphs. I go, that's what I do. That's what Mandy and I do. We share the stories. So looks like my grandson's trying to come in. My 3-year-old grandson's trying to come in the room. So he might be coming in. He can come in. He can come in. But anyway, thank you for doing this. And gosh, I hope everybody watches this, don't you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's so inspiring.
I really am very, very grateful for everything you do and for the support that you so freely give. Thank you.
Well, it's not over, because once you're a Pulpwood Queen author, the love and the sharing goes on. As long as you're a part of us, we you can post every day on the official International Pulpwood Queen and Timber Guy Book Club, whether you're blogging or not. Blogging is just for the author of the week, but the official membership page, we want you to share, all of you, to share what is going on in your world, because I can't catch them all, and Mandy can't either. And so share, and we approve them, and we get them up there, and then we shoot them out to the world too, because we're on
Fun
all
sharing everybody's posts, I say, though. I do love it when I check the magazine stuff. I love like seeing everybody's posts that pop up. I'm like, little happy faces, because I don't have time to, write a comment, but I'll put a heart and a.
It's hard to keep up, because this has been literally, I don't know how many, 22 years. We had 48 authors this year. Think about that. That just multiplies. And then I've been in the book business way before that. So I've got all these other authors I knew even before that. But what is important to know is you've got your first book. We're going to send it out there to the world. And anything we can do to help you, Allison, we're here for you. Okay. And all of you, Rebecca, Sarah, we are here for all of you. We do everything we can. And Mandy, do we know what the Reading Nation magazine is up to now? Last I heard, it was almost at 101,000 readers.
It is. I haven't checked it in a couple of days, but 3 days ago, it was over 102,000.
That's so cool.
So can you hear Mo? Mo was like, yeah.
Amazing.
This magazine's just been going just a little over a year. And I am totally amazed, and it's so inexpensive to advertise. So we hope everybody, June's coming up. It's going to be a big issue. Of course, we've got our big news. The contract is signed. It is official. We are on, and we're going to be getting the link where everybody can book their rooms with the code for the discount. And we're really pumped about it. And I know that's a long way from Utah, a long way from St. Louis, and certainly Bellingham, Washington. But you know what?
But it's only 40 minutes away from Jackson, from the Jackson airport.
That's right. Janet Oakley, who's up your way, she said, well, how do you get from the airport to the hotel? I go, well, how do you get from any convention from the airport to the hotel? You get on a shuttle, or I'm sure they might even have, Marriott may even have their own shuttle to the airport.
I mean, they just might. Oh,
So,
how
we'll
fun.
find it.
When you hear stories like Kathleen Rogers and Joy and Kathy Ramsberger, that's how they met, riding from the airport to Pulpwood Queen Girls Girlfriends Weekend.
The best Pulpwood Queen story that I know of was New York Times bestselling author Carolyn Leavitt. And another one of my authors got stranded in the Longview. Come in here. Everybody wants to see what you look like, Hawthorne. Come here. He's jumping over here. Come over here so that you can look at him. These are my friends. This is my 3-year-old grandson, you all. Here, hop up on my lap. They want to see you. Oh, we've been having the best time. We've been say hi. There's Mandy and Sarah and Rebecca. And this is our author, Allison. Can you say hi? This is the first time he's ever been on my show.
Wow.
And 3 years ago, I was reading to him when he was just a witty bitty baby. And now I'm still reading to him. We have a big time. Did we have a good time today? Man, anything you want to
writer in the
share?
making.
Anything you want to share with everybody before we say goodbye? No? Okay. Can you wave
What about
goodbye?
the elephant, Hawthorne? Did you ride on an elephant?
We rode on an elephant and it was so much fun. We had a good time. It's
Was
a
he
practice.
little? Was
Huh?
he really little, Hawthorne? The elephant? Was the elephant little?
Was it little? No, it was big. It was really big. It was our practice run for when someday we go to India. And now we're going to have to go to Taiwan, right?
Yes.
We are going to have to. His parents are actually very well traveled too. My family, my girls, and my son-in-law, they travel a lot. So we are very excited. And thank you all. Thank you, Allison. I'm going to let you get down. And
We
we're
love
gonna
you,
play.
Allison.
Oh, love you too. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate it.
Well, we don't keep us out of the loop on this next book. Do we have any idea of a goal of when it might be coming out? Or I'm sure it won't take you 16 or how many years.
I hope not.
He's jumping on the bed behind me. So what we look forward to it, and just go to the Pulpwood Queen presents her picks tomorrow to read Allison's blog and comment, get all your friends on board. Big book love, 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 love. And have a wonderful night, Allison.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye. Oh man, that was great. Oh.